So we're here with,
Braun.
where did you go to high school and what year did you graduate?
I went to Teutopolis High School, graduated in 1980.
What sports did you play in high school?
I only played the basketball.
Talk about your high school sports career from your freshman to your senior year.
Freshman was just typical freshman ball. Then I got the dress as a sophomore, just varsity, and then I started my junior and senior year.
Talk about your teammates and your coaches.
My teammates, well, you know one of them. He's your dad. I've had Ted Smith, Dennis Funneman. They went on to play college ball. My senior year, I had Quacker Went, Niemerg, Tony Niemerg, your dad, Don Went, Quacker Went, and who was the fifth? Chuck Daters, Todd Funneman, Dave Rusin. They was all on the team.
Talk about the coaches you had.
I had the beloved Lawrence Carey. Loved him as a coach. He was a great coach.
Talk about some of the teams and players that you played against in high school.
In high school, I don't know. I guess the biggest, played against Uwe and Mitch Arnold, of course. Uwe's first game in America was against T-Town, and they thumped us bad. Played against Marty Simmons, Doug Novsek, then all the boys in the NTC. But
What were your favorite gyms in high school?
gyms, it definitely wasn't Effingham's. That cracker box. Of course, the T-Town's gym was my favorite. Altamont was a nice gym, liked it.
Add any stories you like to add during your high school career?
Any stories? My senior year, I made the last second shot till we beat St. Anthony in the regional. That's probably the highlight of my high school career. I don't know.
Talk about some of the awards that you received in high school.
There wasn't a whole lot of awards. I was all conference, whatever, but nothing all state.
After high school, where did you attend college?
Well, that's a long journey. That took a while. Started out going to Indiana State University, Evansville, down in Evansville, Indiana. And my roommate was, he was 7'6", John Hollenden. He was a senior, but after my freshman year, the head coach, Wayne Boltinghouse, was quitting, and I loved him as a coach, but I hated the assistant coach, and he was getting the head job, so I was going to quit college basketball and go to work. I was going to quit going to college. And then my high school teammate, Ted Weber, was the manager at Indiana State, and he told the coach about me, and they came and talked to me, and they said they would like for me to go there. He says you can either go to Indiana State and Terre Haute for a year and redshirt, or we'd like to send kids out to a junior college out in Colorado. So I ended up going to Trinidad State Junior College in Colorado for a year, and then the last 2 years in Terre Haute.
Who recruited you?
His name, the guy that came to talk to me from Terre Haute was Dudley. I can't even think of Earl Dudley, I think. And then Dave Shellhouse was the head coach. I had him for 2 years.
At the college level, talk about your career, including your teammates and coaches.
Like I said, Big John, he was the tallest guy I ever met, 7'6½". But sad story about him was after his senior year, he's getting ready to go over to Europe to play. And he was in a car wreck and it paralyzed him. And several years later, he developed gangrene and ended up killing him. But anyway, I don't remember much about my years in Colorado because I just don't see them guys that I remember. But in Terre Haute, John Sherman Williams, he was a all-conference player we always played with. But I got buddies that I play golf with now, that Rick Fields, Jeff McComb, Scott Mugg. So guys like that.
Talk about teams and players that you played against.
Played against Randy Brewer, Cliff Livingston, Spud Webb. Played against University of Louisville, but I can't remember who was there. there at the time, but played against the University of Cincinnati. I think they had a stud there that year too, and I can't remember the names.
Name some of your favorite gyms you played in college.
Played at the Braun up in Minnesota. Played University of Louisville. Played at Hinkle Fieldhouse at Butler, which that was a pretty cool place.
Any memories? Any more memories you want to share from college career?
No, I mean it was played 4 years at 3 different colleges and never had a redshirt a year.
Talk about any awards you received.
I didn't receive much in awards, but had a nice college career though.
At what age did you become interested in sports?
At what age? Well, basketball was, as far as I can remember. Dad always loved basketball. We always went to the games, and that's where it got me hooked on basketball.
Since you played, how has the game changed?
Oh, these kids are soft nowadays. No, just kidding. It's a lot rougher than what we were against. We would touch somebody, they would call a foul. So I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with how physical it's gotten, but it is what it is.
What advice would you give to today's youth about playing sports?
If you're going to play, put your whole heart in it. You say you're going to play. Don't quit. Don't back out. Just keep playing.
What has sports done to change your life?
Oh, it's made me, my family all competitive. It's always about the competition.
What is your current occupation?
I work at Quad Graphics.
How long you been there?
34 years.
How tall are you?
Well, how tall am I now? And how tall? I'm 6'7.5" now.
What were you in high school?
I was 6'7" in high school, but I was 6'10" out of college.
How tall is your family? I mean, is your family tall?
Yeah, I got 4 sisters over 6 foot. My dad was 6'6" at one time.
Who's your biggest role models?
Well, I mean, growing up, I had to write a essay, and I had to do a questionnaire about who I wanted to become. And so I sent Leon Gobzinski a letter to Europe while he was playing in Europe, and sent him a bunch of questions, and he sent it back, and then I wrote my essay on that. But
as far as Teton basketball right now, what would you say in your opinion on how Teton basketball has been in the last 5 or 10 years?
It's hard to, how do I want to put this? It's hard to, with success, it's hard to argue success.
Yes, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Terry?
Played college ball, but after college is when I really had fun playing basketball. With all the traveling we did, we had guys like Mitch Arnold, Leon played some with us. We traveled everywhere. Every weekend it seemed like we was going somewhere. The 3-on-3 basketball with Gus Mackers, that's what was fun. We took our families, and that's what it was all about.
Final question is, if you had to pick one game that you were a part of in college, what would it be? As far as a favorite memory.
None that really stick out, so I'm not sure. I really don't know. Oh, I got it. I played against Kevin Duckworth at Eastern when he was at Eastern, and I had my career game against him. And I had like 19 points, 16 rebounds, and like 6 block shots of his. So it was a pretty good night.
Terry, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Tyler.
So you were telling me you wanted to add something, Terry. What would that be?
Well, I got this story. When I was quitting basketball at Indiana State Evansville, Wayne Boltinghouse's teammate was Jerry Sloan that was coaching. He coached the Chicago Bulls at the time. So Wayne had Jerry Sloan call me, try to talk me out of quitting basketball, and he gave me a spill, and I appreciated him calling and stuff. But at the time, it really didn't matter. But I thought it was cool that he called me. But then years later, probably 5-6 years ago, we went over to a Pacers game. That's probably longer than that, because I don't know how long he's been retired. 10 years maybe. But he was coaching Utah Jazz, and Jerry Sloan and the Pacers were playing the Jazz, so we got tickets to the game, and we got there plenty early, and we was one of 10 people in the gym as fans, so all the players are out there shooting around and doing their drills or whatever they do before the games, and Jerry's sitting on the bench. So I went down and said, "Hey, Jerry, you got a second?" He goes, I told him my name, and I said, Wayne Boltinghouse was my coach, and I just talked to Wayne a couple of weeks ago, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, "You remember calling a kid back in 1981 to try to talk to him and play him basketball?" So I said, "I kind of do remember something like that." And I said, "Well, that was me." And he really got a big kick out of that.
Oh, that's cool.
It was something special.
How'd you remember that story?
My wife brought it up.
So what's this you were telling me about Larry Bird?
Well, being at Terre Haute for 2 years in '83 and '84, Larry used to come to Terre Haute for preseason, like somewhat of a conditioning, and we got the scrimmage against him a couple times at the boys club over there, and he was. You hear stories about how much trash talking he did. Well, he loved the trash talking. He had it. He could back it up though. He was pretty damn good.